So, visual arrangement is the most important aspect of visual representation. When we want to represent certain idea through visual images, we need to first consider how we are going to place the images on the given ground. When we talk about ground, we consider many different grounds like the foreground, what is coming at the forefront of the viewer. There is another place that is a middle ground, that is almost like a travel that takes place, that we basically travel from the foreground to the background space, which is like a passive space, and that works as a backdrop of the images. So, there are many ways of dealing with the foreground and background relationship to make sure that what we want to express is properly communicated. So, to initiate an effective visual communication, to communicate the visual images, we need to know how to place them well. So, let us talk about visual arrangement, like how the figure and ground are related to each other. For example, if we consider the right side of the screen as a space which is otherwise blank, like it has nothing in it, it is a two-dimensional surface with no doubt for it. It does not have any other dimension, but the moment I create something on it, maybe it is a capital or maybe it is a small r that can be read as the small r of English, or it can also have a different association. It can be read as a flying bird, that is a possibility. Now, if we read it as the number 2 or the number or the small r, then there is no much of a problem. We know that it is a white surface and somebody has created a letter, they have written it. But when we read it as a flying bird, the background space becomes the sky, and the whole flatness gets ruined. So, with a single dot, with a single scratch, a two-dimensionally can disappear forever. So, when we say that creating optical illusion in a two-dimensional space, or creating or transferring the space into a three-dimensional one is a very big challenge, it is not a very big one, because with a single line which is effective, which is possibly associable, we can always make different surfaces. So, this is one way of looking at it, that how easily the two-dimensional surface gets transferred into a three-dimensional surface. This is one example where I have drawn a sculpture in a given space, and we get to see this kind of images very often, that we place a sculpture. For example, here this is an environmental sculpture which is slightly larger in size, so that people can move around, see it from different angles. It is placed in a open air area. So, here the space is used in a very different way. The sculpture may also create some visual block if it is seen from a closer proximity. You go close and what you see is just the surface, you cannot see the shape of the sculpture, the silhouette of the sculpture, you cannot even see the trees that is situated beyond it. So, it may ruin the environmental space if that is more beautiful, you may not want that visual block to be created. So, there we work on the silhouette, we make sure that the shape is organic enough to go with the passage like seen in the sculpture. And also the viewers who are surrounding the area, they should be able to see the sculpture from a proper view, and the shape also will change from different viewpoints. So, the moment this person will move here, the sculpture will start look different. So, the sculpture will appear different from different point of view. A person who will stand here will get to see the sculpture in a much smaller scale, and each and every part of it will be visible there. A person who will come even closer to the sculpture and take a close view, for him the surfaces will be more important than any other thing. So, he will see the surface in a much better manner. He can enjoy the texture of the ground, how the surface is chiseled out, and many more things. So, an environmental sculpture, a three-dimensional form, provide us with a different possibility of space arrangement. Space in architecture is also no less interesting. Here the most interesting thing is that the positive space, which is the active ground, they are the wall. So, we are creating the wall, here we are working, but what we are considering is the void. So, when we are considering a space, we want a room of a certain dimension, we are not working on the room. Rather than working on the room, we choose to work on its wall. So, what we get as a result is a void, it is a space where nothing is made. So, in a way the void space starts working as the positive ground, it works as the positive ground and the wall becomes a negative ground, but we create wall and not the void space. So, there are uniqueness in all these creations, but in a two-dimensional space, when we want to show some spatial depth, what we do is we deal with the three aspects. One is the foreground, then the background, and of course, the middle ground that comes at the center. Now, in this particular picture, if we call it something similar to the one corner style, one corner style of composition is very popular in Chinese culture. So, what we get to see here is the object that is placed in the foreground, they are sharp, much sharper than any other object that is situated in either in the middle ground or at the background. So, they are sharper, they are placed in one corner of the composition, and then at the background, of course, there is a open space which is perhaps the sky. We also have a faraway mountain, foliage, which are much more blurred, they are off focus, they are almost out of focus, we do not get to see much of a detail there. So, the space that is created at one corner, they are very sharp. So, it seems that they are closer to us, and the background space is not so sharp. So, it gives us a feel that it is placed somewhere in a faraway location. And in the middle ground, there is almost nothing, there is literally nothing. So, the travelling area, when you travel from the foreground to the background, it covers a lot of area without touching it a bit. So, what we see here is an absolute void, but that makes us imagine the foreground and the relationship of the foreground with the middle ground gets created that way. So, there are different ways of manipulating with certain ground and foreground and background and middle ground relationship. Like for example, this is one composition where things are going from the lower part to the upper part, because we see it from a frontal view. So, from a normal human eye, it looks like this is like the sky is there at the back, we have a snow covered mountain a little in front, then we have the forest, we have the river bank, then the river, water, the field, grass. So, if we go step by step, we feel that If this is the foreground, then next comes the water, the third next is the river ground, and then we have the forest, the mountain, and at the background we have the sky. So, we can create 6 different levels in a small general composition, how we look at the mountains and like the general landscape. It can also happen that we see things from top view or from any other angle where these things are not very well revealed. There is another example of this foreground background relationship, where I tried to took A, the capital A, as an example. So, if this white part is the background, because of this size, A is becoming the foreground. So, with no mistake we can read A here, and nobody has to tell us that this A is at the foreground and white is working as a background. But when we enlarge the A a little bit, maybe in the step 1 it is readable, in step 2 it will take a different meaning because it is cropped out or maybe a little enlarged. So, here we cannot, we can identify it as A, still we can identify, it does not lose its identity totally, but we are in a dilemma whether to call this one a foreground or the black part the foreground. So, that creates a dilemma because the area is not properly confined. Here in step 3, it becomes even more difficult to find out which is the foreground and which is the background, if we have A in our mind. So, by this step we forget about the identity of capital A and we slowly get down to the solution that the white is a foreground here, which was otherwise a background in the first drawing. Here the background is transformed into a foreground, and here there is no mistake that the white part, that same background from the diagram 1, this is becoming the foreground of the figure. So, it totally depends on how we are arranging it. So, there is no need to get under impression that the white will be the positive ground and the black will be the negative ground always, or we choose between black and white which one to make negative and which will become positive just because they are contrasted in their nature. Rather, like if we take this one as an example, we can clearly make out that here this particular white and the black, it has no difference, but this white is working as a foreground, whereas this particular white is working as a background in the same image. This one is another area where it has the same white, but it has a foreground look, whereas here the white is working as a background in the same picture. So, this is also possible that we use black and white in negative and positive space. One space becomes active, one comes closer to us, the other one goes back, some space becomes passive in the picture. So, it is completely up to us how we are arranging, how we are enclosing the space and how we are making it work. In the next lecture, we are going to talk about illusion of space. Illusion in the sense how we are converting a 2-dimensional space into a 3-dimensional one, how to create spatial depth, how to either pull your audience into the image or to just go out of the picture and reach the audience. So, there are many other ways to find them out. So, we are going to explore and see more and more way outs, more and more devices of how to create illusion in the space, and also there are different devices will discuss one device at a time, or maybe one or two devices at a time, how to place them, how to have them in a vertical order, how to have them in a foreshortening position, or amplify them using perspective, linear perspective, aerial perspective, and so on and so forth.